Well, hi everybody. Today we're gonna have a look at this little guy, the Real Steel G3 Puukko Lite. But before I go into this knife, I just want to say a few things. I want to thank Knife Monkey a lot for his shoutout that he made in his giveaway, which he did sort of in my favor. And I'd like to welcome all of you guys that came over from Knife Monkey's channel. That was so amazing, and it rocketed my my sub count over 300. So I think I'll do a sort of impromptu giveaway, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. For those of you who are new to me, I think even a few from Selric's channel, what I do when I review, I think of how I would feel if I was standing in the shop, and I don't have any shops nearby, so, and I know a lot of people don't, so I try to convey to you the feeling I have of the knife, and I don't go out into the forest and baton the shit out of a knife, and I am a light user, and I mainly have my pocket knives for convenience and for the occasional whatever task at hand. And if I were to go out in the forest and baton a shit ton of wood, well, I would choose something else than a pocket knife. And same goes for self-defense. I really think you have to consider that very much. The best self-defense against a knife, I think, is running away as fast as you can, unless you are very trained and skilled. As I said, I review the way I would like a review for myself, which is how is it in hand, to convey the feeling that you have if you had the knife in hand. And I hope you agree that this is sort of a way to do it. At least that's my way. I am just a random knife collector. I don't have all the right answers, so if you see something you like, please go and look at some other reviews and form an opinion. I'm not the only one in the world, and I definitely don't sit with all the answers, I think. Let's get into the knife. The Real Steel G3 Puukko Lite, and the light designation sort of hints that there is a heavier version, and a good knife reviewer would of course have found that in advance, but here it is. It is G3 Puukko, and a little more expensive version. It is stainless steel, and it is a little more expensive, but as you can see, if we compare the two, the design, especially on the handle, is very much the same, the design language. And the designer is Ostap, a Polish knife designer who has done a deal of work for Real Steel. And just to show some more of his work, he does some designs with some square edges and some very slender blades, and I quite like them. So this one, just to tell you, this is the G5 Metamorph. Let's not get too much into the other knives. We'll go with the one at hand. This is sort of a budget version of the Puukko G3, and the G in Real Steel terms stands for gentleman, and they have some very simple designations. T stands for tactical. They have, for instance, a T101 Thor, and H for hunt, and they have the H6, for instance. As you might imagine from what I'm telling you and what I know about real steel, I'm really into real steel knives. They were sort of my first brand for really smooth and really value for money budget folders, and I still like them a lot. And with all that talk, let's go into this specific knife. Starting at the blade, it is a 14C28 steel blade, decent, respectable budget steel, and we have a flat grind, satin finish. The flat grind and a very thin blade actually makes it an excellent slicer. It is a drop point, and out of the box, reasonably sharp. Not the sharpest real steel knife I've ever met or encountered, but reasonably sharp. Length of the blade 9 centimeters or 3.5 inches, and as I said, it is thin behind the edge, so it is actually a very nice slicer. A little bit of swedge on top here, and if you look at the spine, no jimping on this one. Looking at the flipper, which is part of the blade, I guess, not a very prominent flipper, and with a bit of jimping in front, and that makes it a good light switching knife. If we move on to the handle, the material is G10, nested liners inside, and very, I don't know if I can show you, very skeletonized. These liners are very thin, and that saves some weight on the knife. And if we speak about weight, 93 grams or 3.3 ounces. And I'm sorry, my mouth is getting dry. I luckily have some coffee. Just a minute. The G10 is sort of grippy, not overly smooth, but not overly grippy, but rather just smooth. Right for a gentleman's carrier, I think. It is a liner lock, and we have a pivot screw here and a backspacer screw here, and very nicely they are both T8 Torx, so no T6 in this one, and I like that. T8 is a bit more sturdy. And we continue to look at it's an open construction and a very nice standoff here, which can actually, you can tie a lanyard to if you're so inclined. On the other side, the pocket clip. One of my not so good things, one of my nitpicks, this pocket clip doesn't take very much material. It is it's not easy to get into a pair of, into the pocket of a pair of jeans, and it is right side tip up carry only, so sorry for your lefties once again. This is the only position for the pocket clip. If we look at the fit and finish, besides from the spine of the blade, which is rather sharp, no rounding off or crowning there, but besides that, the handle is very nicely rounded off, no real hot spots, and if we look at the lockup, about just get it in focus here, about 50%, and centering more or less, yeah, it's actually quite perfect, not much room. And as we can see, blade is nicely hidden inside the handle, which is, in my opinion, a nice thing. It still gives the knife a very little footprint in your pocket, and that is of course always a nice thing, so that you have room for something else. Ergonomics. This is a very nice knife in hand. It just sits there the way it should. It fits my hand perfectly. Still room for bigger hands. I have a size 9.5 hand. I'm accused of having big hands, but still room for some more. And the simple shape also makes it quite ergonomic for most people. The reverse grip is also very, very nice. And this one even has a nice draw cut if you're so inclined. You could argue that it might be a finger choil, but it's a sharpening choil in this case, and that's just the way it is. You can't choke up any further than this, but I guess that's okay. You have a lot of control here as well. So ergonomics, absolutely fine. Moving to the action. The pivot is bearings, on bearings, and that you feel immediately. The action is very smooth, and that's an experience I have with most real steel knives. The action is absolutely phenomenal, and on a lot of them, always very smooth, and always nicely dialed in for snappy action. The detent is just right, and that gives a good and reliable action in most of their knives. This one even perhaps a bit harder than some of their others, but that's okay. It gives a very nice and snappy action, as you can see, and it almost drops shut, like sort of a hydraulic feeling. It doesn't fall by its own weight, but it drops nicely. Very smooth and a nice action. One thing that I feel is really bad, and I have to notice and tell you, the tip. If I can show you, the tip is very, very close to the back of the knife. If I push a little, I can touch the tip there, and I can grab it, or it grabs my skin actually. And I think that if you have it in your pocket like this, and you go for your knife, you might actually, perhaps with a little smaller finger than me, or perhaps if you apply a little more pressure, you can actually open it with the tip of your finger, and that would of course give you a nasty cut. Not a very good thing. It won't happen often, but I think I should mention it. Overall, the length is 21 centimeters or 8.2 inches, and overall a very, very nice light EDC knife. As I said, 93 grams, 3.3 ounces. A very light knife. A very indeed, it deserves the name of a gentleman's carrier. I think it is a very nice urban EDC, so to speak. Mid-size gentleman's carry, and I quite like it. That issue with the tip is a bit worrying, but other than that, it is a phenomenal knife. I won't say I can recommend it. Yeah, I can recommend it, but you have to pay attention to that tip, and I'm very satisfied with this. Now, due to some circumstances, I actually have two, and this is a new one. The other one had a little issue that was corrected by the supplier, and he said that I could just keep the other one, so I have two. And since I surpassed the 300 subs, I think it would only be appropriate if I made a little giveaway, and so I'll give this without the issue. I managed to solve this, but I won't give you something potentially faulty, so I'll give away this new knife that I got. What I'll do This is a bit impromptu since I didn't actually plan. I think that I would be above 300 this fast. You have a chance to win this one. You do a comment on this video, like I'm in or whatever you want to say, and you have to know the knife laws in your region, because I don't really want to ship to someone where customs sees it or whatever. You have to be over 18. If some of these things apply to you, we'll think of something else. I don't know, maybe an Amazon gift card or something. And on Monday, I'll use the tube body comment picker, and I'll find out who won, and I'll announce it in a video. And with this, once again, welcome to all my new subscribers, and have a nice day, evening, whatever it is in your country. Bye bye.